This is Bars at Work, where leadership and personal development meets hip-hop. I'm Bajoy Phillip.
And I'm Javen Ferrer. Bars stands for dope lyrics. Every episode, we drop bars about a topic.
Then we break them down for motivation and insights that you can apply in your work.
Let's get started with this episode, teamwork.
Bars at Work. Let's talk about teams for a moment. Teamwork makes that dream work. So cliche, but the phrase still has words I ain't never seen. No goal achieved without that team going hard for the same thing, right? Follow me through my rhyme scheme. Bars at work, gotta shed those high beams. I mean, I see so many clicks, but they're not a team. They're groups, but they don't achieve what they could if they all believe in a common goal. It didn't compete like they were foes and work to change a common woe. That's woe. Follow me, let's roll. Real teams know they roll. Confront the elephants known to roam. Who's in your circle? Who's got the virtue? Who's on your team? And not to hurt you, that's real. Real teams don't scapegoat, accountable for their own scope. Collaborate for the betterment of the whole. It's more than just lettering on your clothes. With just a few, you can change your news, adjust your view beyond the hue. The strength in a team that takes these cues and goes beyond what they thought they can do. Bars at work, just thoughts from a dude who wants the best for me and you. Cause dunks look better with an alley-oop. I said dunks look better with an alley-oop. Team.
Yes, sir.
Man, there's so much in there. There's so much in there, man. And I love your flow, B, in this piece, man. It was so smooth and rhythmic. He just could have kept going on forever. And you dropping so many jewels in here, man. So tell me, what was the inspiration behind teamwork? Yeah. What was going on in your mind, in your life at the time when you put it together? This is a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Jay, man. I appreciate that. We know teams are just so fundamental to everything that we do in the workplace, outside of work, whether at your church, sports teams, different aspects of our lives always have this group dynamic and this team dynamic that we get ourselves involved in. And so it was just ruminating in my mind that it's so central to how we get things done at work. So how do we explore this topic of teamwork? And at the time, I was taking a course on group dynamics, and our professor really had us dive deep into this idea of teams versus groups and how they operate. What are the things that make them healthy? What are the things that make them perform well? And from that perspective, it was just pouring out of me at that point, just in my head, like, hey, let's tackle this. It's such an important topic. And a lot of times we focus so much on the leader or individual performance. We don't necessarily spend a lot of time on the team. So that's where it came. Yeah.
So that's a great point right there. What is there a reason in your studies or taken away from this piece in hindsight? Is there a reason why we spend little time focused on the team rather than, as opposed to looking at the leader? Any insights on that?
That's a great question. Don't get me wrong. Leaders are important. Individual performance is important. I think sometimes it's easier to say, hey, if I just make an individual better at this skill, critical thinking, you name it, project management, whatever the skill is, I just make these people better. When I put them all together in a room, performance will just happen. But teams, the idea of teams is way more complex and nuanced, because now you're talking about the dynamic and the experience between individuals, whether it be 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 20 people. At that point, now you're talking about a dynamic that's harder sometimes to articulate, harder to quantify what is happening amongst the team. And quite frankly, and we'll talk a little bit about this, is that you have to get a little bit more vulnerable as well. To really confront things that might be challenges for the team. Easier to confront your own things. Even that's hard, right? For leaders.
Absolutely.
To be self-aware. That's a hard step for leaders to take individually, but just imagine a team. Yeah. So those are some of the reasons I think that we avoid it. And it's just, we think that the individual, if we just piece them all together, that it'll all work, but that's not the case.
Doesn't happen that simply.
Yeah.